In the early 1900s, the French government asked psychologist Alfred Binet to help identify students that may require assistance in their schooling. So Binet and his colleagues began creating questions that evaluated innate abilities like attention, memory, and problem-solving skills. And they noticed that students' performance on these questions was correlated with their real performance at school. Over the coming years, Stanford University psychologist Louis Terman took Binet's original test, adapted it, and in 1916 published the Stanford-Binet Intelligence Test, which coined the term intelligent quotient, which is a single number we're all familiar with that could theoretically tell someone their intelligence. Fast forward to 1955, where American psychologist David Wechsler created a new measurement instrument called the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, more commonly known as the WAIS. And since that original test in 1955, the WAIS test has been modified and improved upon until its fourth rendition that was released in 2008. The WAIS 4 is the most popular IQ measuring tool in the entire world. It contains 10 subtests that provide scores in 4 major areas of intelligence: a verbal comprehension scale, a perceptual reasoning scale, a working memory scale, and a processing speed scale. And today, my friends, I'm going to start attempting to increase my IQ to over 9,000. Okay, not 9,000, but at least a little bit, hopefully. One of the components of the WAIS test is working memory, and that's the particular part that I am trying to improve. So I'm sure you've heard before that most people can only hold 7 digits in their brain at any given time. The ability to remember this many numbers, that is your working memory. And apparently you can improve the capacity of this working memory. The science is a little bit controversial, but that is something we'll get into later. So here's how this challenge of increasing my working memory and my fluid intelligence is going to happen. First, I'm going to take some tests on day 1, which is today. I'm using humanbenchmark.com and doing a couple of their tests. Then for 30 days straight, the actual training phase, I'm going to be doing something called dual NBAC. And dual NBAC is a type of cognitive training where you have to remember a position or a sound that was presented to you 2 turns ago. And then if you can do that well, then you do it for 3 turns ago and 4 turns ago. I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you watch me do it, it'll make complete sense. I'm gonna be doing this training for about 30 minutes every single day. And when I'm finished after the 30 days, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna take those same tests that I did at the very beginning. And if my scores have improved, which I'm really hoping that they do, then maybe I can conclude for myself that this dual NBAC training actually had some effect on my cognitive abilities. Obviously, I'm going to get better at the dual NBAC game itself, but the real question is, does the improvement experienced in the dual NBAC game apply to other areas of your life? That's what I'm going to be testing out for myself, and I'm excited to see if there is any actual improvement. So, let's get to testing. Alright, so we're at my computer now and we're about to start the tests. There are a few here that I want to do. The first one is number memory. So you try to remember the longest number that you possibly can. The second one is verbal memory. Keep as many words in short-term memory as possible. And then there's another one here, visual memory. Let's just jump into it. Number memory. I might end up doing 3 of these each. So I'll take 3 and I'll take the average, and that's what you do in grade 7 science class. I think. Damn, son. There's no way this is right. 413. Oh, that was way off. See, 1151. Damn it. See, this is why you do more than one trial. Crap. 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 019? All right, the next one that we're going to test is verbal memory. Right there, that's a huge difference. Oh, I knew I saw that one. I knew I saw it. So we have an average here of 74 points. Visual memory. Wow. It's clearly wrong. I have no idea. 11. 11 again. 11 again. So clearly I have an average of 11 on this, since I got 11 every single time. And I've got my benchmarks. We'll see where it goes from here. Time to start doing dual n-back. So, dual n-back is an incredibly memory-intensive cognitive training game. The dual part of the name means you're trying to remember two types of inputs. In my case, a position and a letter. The n in n-back stands for the number of turns backwards you're trying to match up the input. So with dual 2-back, you look for matches 2 steps into the past for both the letters and the positions of the square. How about we just play one of these games together to give you a better understanding? All right, here we go.
S K.
So what you need to do is remember both of those positions and both of those letters. So the S was in the top right corner and the K was in the middle left column.
S.
Now, since that was an S, exactly 2 turns ago it was also an S, so you should press sound. However, the position was different than it was 2 turns ago, so you're not going to press the position button.
T.
So T does not match up with the K, and the position is also not the same either.
K.
Now I'm just going to let it play and only stop it when you should press sound or position.
K. H. K.
So there, you should press just the sound button, because we did hear a K 2 turns ago.
T.
Now, this is the first time we're pressing position. If you remember 2 turns ago, it was an H at that exact same position. This time it's a T, so we only press position and not sound.
K.
2 turns ago, it was exactly a K in that same position, so you have to press both position and sound.
T.
Once again, the T is the same, the position is different.
R. H.
Position is the same as 2 turns ago. Alright, that's pretty much how it works. If you can get 80% on this level, then you'll move up to the next level, where you have to keep 3 positions and 3 letters in your memory at any given time. Then if you pass level 3, you move up to level 4 and level 5, and so on. I was sitting here doing my dual n-back training for the day, and I just had the craziest breakthrough. It's such a big breakthrough that it completely changes the strategy that I've been using. So suppose we were doing single 3-back. So we'll only be dealing with letters for this example, where I had to remember if the current letter was the same as the letter 3 turns ago. So let's say the first 3 letters were R, T, Q. I would try to remember that sequence RTQ to see if the next letter was an R, and if it was an R, then I would press the sound button. Now what I would be doing in my head is I would be rearranging it. So instead of RTQ, I'd be thinking, okay, now it's TQR. So the next letter that comes up, let's say D, then I wouldn't press it, but I would once again reorganize the letters in my head. So every single turn, every time I heard something new or I saw a new position, I would be trying to reorganize them in my head. Every single turn. Looking back on this, it was the stupidest thing in the world. I don't even know why I did it this way. But let me tell you, there is a much more efficient way that just kind of came natural to me after doing this for like 7 days. Instead of reorganizing every single turn, I only have to reorganize every 3 turns. So what I'd be doing now is separating the groups of letters in 3s. So let's say the first 3 letters are RTQ. So I have RTQ somewhere in the back of my head, and then I hear S. S is not the same as R, so I'm not going to press the sound button. Then I hear T. Oh, T is the same as T. That was the second one. So I would press the sound button then. And then I would hear C, but that wasn't the same as Q. So I wouldn't press the button at all. And at this point, I would try to completely forget those first 3 letters, RTQ. And I would be focusing now on STC. Immediately after I started using this strategy, I got the highest score that I ever had on the dual 4-back. This was actually a very mentally grueling process up until this point, but I think now that I've kind of figured out this obvious strategy, everything's gonna be a lot easier, and I'm actually gonna enjoy doing this. So let's go. So I'm about 2 weeks into this challenge now, and for the first time, I finally reached level 5. So I guess the proper term for that would be called dual 5-back. And this means that at any given time throughout the practice session, I'm memorizing 5 different visual positions and 5 different auditory letters. And let me tell you, it's very difficult. And I can certainly say that at the beginning of this challenge, there's no way I would have ever been able to do that. In the very beginning, I could barely even handle 3 letters and 3 positions at a time in my head. That was dual 3-back. I was getting like 60%, 50%, 40%, and you need to get 80% on each level in order to succeed to the next level. So in the beginning, I wasn't even close, but now dual 3-back is very easy. So that's really cool to me. I can definitely see the progress. And when you're doing something every single day like that, you're gonna get feedback. And that feedback, that progress is enough motivation to keep you going usually. The real question still remains though, if this increase in performance is going to have any applicability to the real world. I really hope that I see some increases in those benchmark tests that I took and somehow increase my IQ to over 9,000 so that Vegeta will be so proud of me. It's first thing in the morning and I thought to myself, I probably shouldn't be doing this mentally challenging activity this early in the morning. I probably won't do a good job on that, but I was totally wrong. Today, for the first time, I made it to level 6. So dual 6-back. And I'll tell you what, I practiced it a couple of times, and while I was doing it, my brain got so overloaded with information that it just let go of everything. And I couldn't remember any positions, any letters. So I had to just sit there and watch the screen without inputting any answers. That's one of the first times that this has happened. So while I made some improvement to get to level 6, it feels like level 6 is going to be quite the challenge. I can't see myself getting to level 7 within a week like I had over the past few trials. Every single week I had been improving level by level. I think this is going to take at least a few weeks. It just feels like I'm getting to my utmost working memory capacity. But we'll see. You never know. There's 9 days left in this challenge and we'll see, we'll see what I can do. All right, guess what day it is? It is not day 30, it's day 31 of this challenge, which means it's time for me to redo those benchmarks that I took at the beginning of this challenge and see if I've made any improvement. Up until now, I've still only been able to do dual 6-back. Over the last 9 or so days, I've been very close to getting to level 7, but you need to get 80% or higher on level 6 in order to advance, and a couple of times I've gotten into the high 70% range. So I'm very close. And I was hoping today would be the first day that I make it into that level 7 range. I hope I can get to level 7 today. That would be an amazing end to this challenge. All right, as you can probably see from the change in scenery, today is the next day, but that's okay. Now is the real test. The real question will be answered today. Does dual N-back have any sort of helpfulness towards my working memory? And while this isn't a very scientific process at all, I do want to see if I can improve on the 3 benchmarks, the 3 tests that I did in the beginning of this challenge 30 full days ago. So I'm gonna go and do those right now, and we will see what happens. First one we're gonna do, number memory again. Level 11. That was my max on the last time. Alright, so my score on the number memory is almost identical to what I got the last time. I didn't see much improvement, I guess. That's totally fine. We got a couple more tests to go. Ooh. 80 points. Not bad, not good. Do this again. $60 points this time. I don't know. 102 points. Over 100. That's good. That's good. So my average this time was 84 points. It's better than it was last time. I don't know if that means anything. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. 10. All right, so it was a little disappointing. I didn't see as much of an improvement as I thought I would have. I did see a little bit of improvement on the verbal memory and the visual memory tests, but I don't think it's enough to conclude that the dual NBAC had any significant effect on my working memory or my general intelligence. Now, granted, it was only 30 days and I would probably have to do it for longer if I wanted to see some more benefits, but I did learn something throughout this entire challenge, and the way that dual NBAC works is that it challenges you to remember something that you just learned within the last 5 to 10 seconds. It's really testing your working memory because you're trying to remember back and recall that information. And in my opinion, there are a lot of different ways to do that type of training. It doesn't have to be dual NBAC. In fact, while I'm studying Korean, that's something that I'm doing as well. I hear a sentence in the Korean TV show that I'm watching, and then I try to regurgitate it back within just a few seconds of hearing it. Now, while dual NBAC might be a little bit more complicated and sophisticated and systematized, I feel that the learning principle is still the same with how I'm studying Korean. Another possibility could be learning to play chess, because I'm pretty sure while you're playing, you want to remember some of the previous moves that the people have done, so that you have an idea of what strategy they're trying to use. Now, I've never played chess before, but that could be a possible challenge I do in the future, kind of as an intellectual learning challenge, similar to the dual NBAC thing that I just did. So while the results of this particular challenge were underwhelming, I'm in the process of doing many other challenges that I've already seen incredible results with. So if you are interested in this type of content and you want to see somebody working towards something over time, building habits, learning new skills, then consider subscribing to the channel, hit that bell, and comment down below what types of challenges you would be interested in seeing. This is all for fun for me. I really enjoy trying out new things, learning, and I plan on continuing to do these types of videos for a very long time. And with that, I have one apology to make. Vegeta, I'm sorry I couldn't get to 9,000 IQ. I couldn't make you proud this time, but maybe next time. All right, have a good day, everybody.